What's up? And welcome to Nighttime at the Nerd Bar, episode 57.
What?
Woo!
What?
Almost to 60.
What? Okay.
Yay. We're going to be talking the Trigun Stampede, My Hero Academia, recommending other stuff we're watching, reading, and all that, as well as remind you about some anime in movie theaters now and coming your way.
Yes.
We are live. That if you were joining us live, join us in the live chat. And if you're watching later, no worries, comment down below. And so, do introductions first. Hello, I'm Carrie Lane.
And I'm Katie Cullen.
Yes. And so let's dive right into it. So news/things we're excited about, because reminder, we've talked about some of these, but in case you're like, oh yeah, that. Well, there are some movies in theaters. Katie, what's in theaters now?
What is in theaters currently is That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime movie. That dropped, I believe, last week and is available in theaters. So if you are a fan of the show, do the thing, win the stuff.
Yes. And then coming out this Friday, we got the new SAO movie, new Sword Art Online film. Yeah, I'm excited for that one. So that's coming to theaters this Friday. So get your tickets now if you haven't yet. And then Katie, what's the next one after that?
The next one that we have a premiere date. We know when the premiere is, but I don't know that we have wide release yet.
All right.
The next Demon Slayer movie is premiering on February 18th. So we know that that's going to have one of those nice little red carpet parties. We don't know when, I don't believe we know when the release date on that is yet, but I will be gobsmacked if it's not later this year, given that we have a premiere and a trailer, and we might actually have the release date on this. My brain just isn't working. Big Monday energy, y'all. Big Monday energy.
Generally, it's soon after. So
soon.
Sometime soon. We got Giga Derek in the live chat says, it's Monday. You know what that means? Yes, we love that energy. As well as greets from the Shadow Realm. I'm still here for some reason.
What did you do, dude? Who did you lose a game to? Honestly.
Yes. So let's get into it. Our other quick, that's kind of it on news. It's a little quiet this week, but that we're excited then to talk about our shows. So if you are new here, we will be talking Trigun Stampede, which is the current airing Trigun show. Mm-hmm. We will then have a segment where we do a little bit of referencing, then cross-comparing to the old one. We'll put this up in case you were like, oh, wait, I don't want to know.
Yes.
So come back when this is down, when we get to that point.
And then after that, we're talking My Hero Academia. So the lower thirds will always be accurate to the conversation at hand. So if you're not following one or the other, or you want to stay spoiler-free for one or the other, throw it on mute and then come back when the lower third changes. We will have that visual cue for you.
And other little reminder, we're only talking about the show, so no manga spoilers, please. You all do a fantastic job of that. Let's keep it up.
Yes, for both shows.
Yes, for both shows. Okay, my goodness. Trigun Stampede, hello, Tremors episode. So I really liked it. And I'm like,
they're like, the only wildlife that lives on this planet, aside from, we've seen the Thomases. We saw Vash riding a Thomas. If they're even still called Thomases in this show, I don't think they ever actually gave them a name, are the worms. We've seen the worms in their little flying form, and we've seen the big honking graboids.
Yes.
So, okay, it's Graboid Central.
I thought that was fun, though, and weird. Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it was a wild one. I'm not surprised that a worm theme episode is what also gave us Zazie the Beast. I have been waiting for this little nerd to show up. What a jerk.
I love we get our introduction of Wolfwood. We were wondering when Wolfwood is going to show up. And so I think he's super cool. I'm digging it. I like the vibes. I'm so curious. And I mean, some of this we will do our best not to cross compare, but some of it's so hard. I'm really curious for the people who've never watched anything, if they had any idea what was in that cross, if they had any, were they, what?
I feel like the laser beam was new. The machine gun at the end is not new. There's another feature that we haven't seen yet if they decided to keep it, but I don't remember the big honkin' laser.
I liked it, but I don't
Yeah,
remember that
yeah,
either. So I was like,
yeah.
okay.
And again, just because I don't remember it doesn't mean it didn't happen. It's just
True.
one of those like, huh, moments.
Yes. We're yeah, Wolfwood is here. We got
He
Charles in the
is.
chat. Yes, yes, yes. Gig there says Wolf has gone full guilty gear. Yes.
That's fair. That's fair. Quarter circle back and any button, and you get the giant laser.
Yeah. I was about to say, I'm like, I don't understand the reference, but yes, that makes sense now.
Yes.
I thought that was his introduction was great. Okay, this is one of those, it's not spoiler for the 95, but I'm like, oh, it's so hard for us not to say something. But I'm like, but I don't remember him being like that. That I'm like, he's mysterious, but I was disappointed but not surprised about the pseudo betrayal. Okay, but I don't.
He's like the
okay
for a different reason. There's again, we'll talk comparisons
we'll get to that,
later.
Yeah. But it wasn't like this, right? Because this didn't. Okay, we'll hold that. I'm like, man, it is really hard.
It was not the exact same as this. However, there is a lot to talk about in terms of comparisons between introductions.
Yes.
But
I appreciated those two meeting each other.
I love Robert not giving a single solitary fuck about anything.
Yes.
I love that he's there, he gets it, he tries, but he's also so world weary and has dealt with so much stuff that he's just like, this is my life right now, I guess. Well, I'm a wanted accomplice to a terrorist. We'll get fired if the Home Office finds out.
Yes.
Oh no. It's just like,
I think I wanted him, now that I think about it, I'm like, oh, I kind of wanted him to get Wolfwood's invoice and be like, light under it and just burn it. Like, I feel that would be his energy. He's like, I don't give a fuck, no. Or Parrot, like, okay. Yeah,
but just you should be asking him why he thinks he can charge us this. Yes. Still just like mentoring Meryl.
Yeah. Because Meryl's like, what is going on?
As much as I miss Millie, and I do miss Millie, for the tone that this series is going for, Robert is definitely the better fit. And it's really weird because I know there's part of me that's like, there's just so much really weird shit and it's really dark. And it's like, didn't you spend last episode giving everyone a primer on Gungrave? Like, Trigun 1995 was relatively light on Yasuhiro Naito going hard. Gungrave is fairly heavy on it. And for this version of Trigun, we again have Yasuhiro Naito going hard with the character designs, with things being crazy, with things being dark. Like, there is some really buck wild stuff going on. And it's one of those, like, I don't know. Part of me is really intrigued. And the other part of me is like, can you just tell me what's happening? Like, I switch back and forth between, oh, this is fun, and I have no patience. It's weird.
Yes.
It's weird. It's very weird.
Charles said Bash and Wolfwood share a singular brain cell.
Yeah, there is one brain cell, and usually Meryl has custody, but right now I think Robert has it.
I was going to say it's Robert all the way.
It's Robert's. It's Robert's.
But actually, that comment, I don't know why, but it made me think I really love the moment where Wolfwood points out to Bash, like, you need to be more aware, like, I essentially could sneak up on you, and Bash is like, well, you haven't shot me yet, so I think I'm okay. Yeah. And then Wolfwood going, all right, well, that's all right. Yeah.
And Robert pointing out, like, this is how assassins work. They take the first bite to make you think it's safe and then slip poison into it and hand it to you. Like, you need to be more aware. And just being like, oh no, he's a reporter who's been around for a while. Like, he probably knows some fairly awful stuff. Yes. Useful, but awful. It's like, okay, I like that. I like Mr. Life Experience over here in the corner.
And the mention of the Intel network, because I don't really feel, I feel that's a new thing, which I makes sense too, of them sharing information.
I mean, if you're press, you've got to have your informants somewhere,
right?
So,
well, speaking of knowing things, what do you think of the outfit, the factory where Knives is hanging out at the end? And I'm like, what is happening in there? Then they again talk about portals and
who knows
stuff.
What I'm wondering is because when Vash and Knives ran into each other last episode, holy cow, what day is it? the confrontation was, you still can't control your portal yet. And then this conversation here was, he has a portal that can go to different places, different. I did not catch the words. It was in one ear and out the other because my brain is not working this week. I don't remember if it was different dimensions,
I
different
thought
realities,
it said
different.
dimensions.
I thank you. That's what I thought, and my brain
Yeah.
went, no. I'm like, thank you,
I think
brain. You're
dimensions.
helpful.
Mhm.
It's like, so Vash has this portal that can go to different dimensions that he either does not know how to use or is refusing to use or refusing to learn to use.
Mhm.
My question here is, does Knives have his own portal? And does he need Vash's portal to make it work? It's like, is this something where, okay, because if you notice Vash's design, he has 2 prosthetic legs and a prosthetic arm. So he's been around the block a bit. The question is whether or not Knives took those off.
Oh, yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised.
I would not be surprised.
But
I want to go with Knives has nothing of his own, and so he needs Vash, and that's why he doesn't just kill him outright or anything like that, too, because it's like, I need to keep him intact.
Or Knives' crazy talent is again, his namesake, the Million Knives.
Yes. Well, like you said, it could be the
Vash to work.
The connection. Maybe.
Yeah. I mean, the portal needs both ends. Maybe you need an in and an out. You need the blue gate and the orange gate.
Yeah.
And also, they're twins.
Yes.
So if we're really leaning into that connection, like, it is entirely possible that Knives needs him alive for whatever the heck is coming down the line. Like, he needs him alive. He needs that portal working. But then we get to the, I'll tear him apart to get it if I need to. Like, okay, maybe he doesn't need him alive. Or maybe he only needs him alive until the very end. Who knows? Again, like, this is really interesting, but also I'm losing patience. But that's also just me, I think.
Well, it's also us having to wait week to week, too.
Oh,
like, if you could binge it, that itch would be less of a need.
But there are some shows where they're fine week to week. And there are some shows where, like, the binge is the better way to watch it.
Yeah.
And this might be one that benefits from a binge as opposed to a week to week. I don't know.
Let us know. Leave your comments down below.
Out.
Is this a binge show, or do you like waiting week to week? I don't think anybody likes waiting, but
nobody likes waiting week to week. But here we are.
Do you think that other little child that was at, like, that factory space is a similar thing to what Vash and Knives are, or a new one?
I think I think Vash and Knives are unique. I think that kid is probably in the Gung Ho Guns along with, it seems, everybody else. But
it has the same, like, bleached stuff look to it that, like, you know, it's similar to how Vash and Knives looked as children. So I'm wondering, or it's like a clone?
Or maybe this is, we have this child and Knives only knows one way for children to look.
That too. Charles says there is a lot of setup right now. Indeed. Yes. This is a lot of, like, the pieces being laid out. What I was trying to think of anything else that was really standout-y.
I think the conversation with Knives and the giant laser cutting apart a worm. Can I just say that, like, the 3 dudes chilling in the desert eating worm meat were my favorite part of this episode?
They were so funny. They left their mask down and they ate, like, underneath it too.
Yeah.
They were super
and just them chatting, them watching things happen, and then when the giant worm spit Vash and Wolfwood out, them being like, oh my god, that was a miracle! That was amazing! Come on, come this way so you don't get eaten again! Come on, guys! What the hell just happened? And then just the glory hallelujah when the giant worm split in half and they're like, yes! Like, they were my favorite part. My favorite part.
So which one was Zazzy?
Zazzy the Beast, that kid.
Oh, yes. The so that Charles, you mentioned the character. What did you think of the introduction of that character? I was like, let us know in the chat. Oh, that is I like the newer design. Look, because it's one of those that's been so long. So I'm like, let me look back at pictures. And I'm like, oh, I kind of like the more messy. Longer hair look.
It has been a minute. And I know there's some
Yes,
buck
Buggy
wild
Little
stuff
Gremlin.
with
Yes.
Zazie in the manga, so I don't know how this compares.
Okay.
I just know that that's one of those like, yeah, I remember that sort of moments. Um, I don't think Zazie had much of an impact in the earlier show. I think a lot of the gung ho guns kind of came and went in the
Mm,
95 show, and we had a few that really stuck around.
got it.
Again, we're going to stick that behind the spoiler thing.
Yes. We'll
I
hold that.
liked this introduction of Zazie. I liked this
Mhm.
very inhuman, like when there
Mhm.
are adults and children, people assume it's a family unit and they assume this. Zazie just using disguise person. My roommate actually pointed out watching it, like,
Hmm.
it's weird. She was pointing out, like, it's weird that this kid has nail polish. Because if he's working at a gas station, that's not the sort of thing you'd assume in this climate. But he's got this perfect manicure. And then it's like, oh, lol, just kidding. Like,
Is this
oh,
character he or she ever mentioned specifically by
I
them?
don't
Because I felt like
know.
it is the anime voice that is that perfectly androgynous that they use a lot of
Yeah.
times where you're not really sure. And the fashion style made me think this person's female. But then I'm not totally sure because it is that anime ambiguous, and I don't remember the character ever referring to themselves. But they assumed it was a little boy,
Yeah.
and not that nail polish is specifically for male or female. But I kind of was like,
It's not that
curious.
it was gender nonconforming, and more that it was a perfect manicure at a
Yes.
labor job.
Well, it was also the pants style that showed up later. It was like the one long leg and one short leg. That was also an interesting fashion
Yeah.
choice.
Just one of those
But yes,
incongruous for someone whose
do
family
that.
runs a gas station and
No,
who
totally.
would generally be doing hard work out in the sand. Like,
Also,
you can have
then
a nice manicure for like a day.
made me think the person was older too, like
Fair.
older than their appearance is.
Yeah.
Because when like I don't know, when they were holding something or whatever, and we saw the full hand shot, I was like, there's some very mature looking nails. That's a good
Yeah.
point to point out. Did you want to
Yeah.
switch to comparing
I think we
now?
should. At
Yeah.
this point, I think we should.
Yep, because I was like, oh, there's too many.
Fucking graboids,
So if
though,
you have
man.
not, what?
Graboids, though, man.
If
Where's Kevin Bacon
y'all,
when you need him?
yes. So I was like, wait, I didn't think Wolfwood like did this to them before and like betrayed them that kind of way yet.
Oh,
Not
yeah.
that- but
He's
okay, but not
It
this
wa-
with this character, right?
not this quickly.
Okay, that's it.
What I'm realizing more and more for this show, this particular one, is that everything that would have been considered a spoiler or a plot twist in the 1995 anime, they just, here you go. No spoilers, no plot twist, none of that noise. And they're keeping what's unique to the show very close to the vest, which, in my opinion, makes this show, like, you can hop on if you're not familiar with 1995, but I feel like for this one, it's playing a little more towards the I've been a Trigun fan for a while, because it's like, oh yeah, no, this is like you remember, or this is different than you remember, or like we're just starting off with this, so you know, like this beats the same, or here's a little bit different. So yeah, just all the stuff that would have been a spoiler or a plot twist in the older anime is just laid out. Wolfwood's loyalties, Vash's backstory, Knives' existence, all just laid out. So
I don't mind that though, because then it feels very fresh to me. I have this vague memory of things, but all this is like, I don't remember a Worms episode. Well, was there a Worms one?
What we had when there might have been a Worms one, I don't remember all the specific ones, but Wolfwood's introduction specifically, it was similar in that is a dude with a cross walking through the desert. What the hell are you doing? And they're on a bus, and the bus kind of stops and picks him up. And then there's a couple kids on the bus, and they get lost in the desert. And Vash and Wolf would go looking for them, and they wind up in an underground facility full of ancient technology, and the security system basically turns on and is trying to chase them out. And Vash is able to kind of go in and calm it and be like, hey, there's nothing to fight anymore. There's nothing to protect anymore. You can rest.
Yes.
And doing that whole, like, this guy has a connection. But yeah, Wolfwood has always been this snarky and this kind of money hungry, but the way he was putting it was, I'm raising money for the kids back at the orphanage. Yeah. So
Also, a quick point out by which I'm like fair. Giga Derek says, "Are we sure it's 95? Because it says on other things it says 98 in other places."
I don't know.
Maybe we can adjust that.
98. I got no idea.
Maybe.
I think we Googled it once and that was it.
Probably. We'll leave
95
this up for
seems
now and we'll
right.
make adjustments later.
Yeah, we'll
But
figure
close.
it out.
90s.
Whatever. I appreciate it though. We'll
Thank
figure
you.
it out.
Yes.
Before 2000.
Yes.
Yeah, no, my God, this show. So it's a similar idea in the two of them getting thrown in and bouncing off each other and having kind of that weird rivalry, but also camaraderie.
Yeah.
But it was much more on the weird rivalry side. It's like, oh, you're friends, but you're rivals, but you're fun. Like, it's fine, whatever. And this one felt a little more antagonistic. But also, this is a darker toned show.
Yes, which I felt that with Wolfwood too. I felt he was a little bit more dangerous.
He's an undertaker, not a priest.
Yes.
And again, that laser. We didn't get the...
I like the laser, though. It feels really
I like the laser, too.
Yeah.
But it's what we got from the escalation. Like, for when we met him, it was the cross opened up and the arms had the handguns that came out. I don't think we got to see the machine gun for a bit after his introduction. I could be remembering this wrong, but I feel like they kind of kept that one quiet for a bit.
Yep. Again, no spoilers. They're just getting to it right away. They're like, and here you go.
And also, he has a giant laser.
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
Okay. So I really want to know
weird
anybody
show.
who's brand new to this going, what
the fuck? Yeah, no, it's very wild. It's a very different experience. And again, I think part of it is I have so much love for the older show. And again, it's my favorite. I love the tone. I love the balance. So that going into this one and being like, oh, this is a much darker tone. Oh, like someone whole ass gets murdered in every single episode. It's like, okay.
Totally unrelated, but kind of in the comparison category. The opening is growing on me more and more now too. Like I'm like
it's
getting into the vibe of. It's not the same as the other one, totally, but I feel it fits the vibe of this show. So
it's a good, solid opening. It still has ending theme energy, but it doesn't make a bad opening. I've actually been like trying to listen more to the music that plays during the action scenes, during everything, and it's good music, but again, it's that comparison issue and the fact that the OG Trigun soundtrack was just so ridiculously good that it's like, no, this is good, solid, functional music. It does not have the personality of the first one. And I think that's kind of what I'm running into here with this series, is that there's nothing wrong with it. It's fun. It's interesting. It's taking us places. It's a good adaptation. It's missing the personality that the first one had. That particular sense of style and flavor and verve that it brought. That this one, again, this one's very good. I'm not going to sit here and be like, it's different, so it's bad, because that is not the case. But it's one of those, my expectations were set by one, and finding them so different on the other. And as someone who is very much drawn to something with a lot of personality and style and verve, that very high energy, that comedy, like, I like happy endings. I don't mind the struggle. I don't mind things getting bad, but I like happy endings. And I'm not sure about this one.
Going darker. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah. It's just like.
So as soon as you're saying that, I was like,
uncertain.
Yeah.
So there's multiple reasons why I'm not watching The Last of Us. It has nothing to do with the quality of the show and everything to do with me. But no. So it's absolutely nothing wrong with it, but my personal tastes run elsewhere.
Sure.
So we'll see. We'll see where this show goes. We'll see what mysteries it is keeping under wraps. Like, we'll see. I think I'm still going to wind up preferring the original one. And that's a personal taste thing. It really, really is just
kind of
this is what I prefer. And keep it under comparison because I'm actively comparing them. Again, it's not been a full season yet. I can't sit here and be like, well, I know for absolute certain, but 4 episodes worth, I can see the tone, I can see where we're going, I can't see exactly where we're going, but
well, funny thing is I'm loving how he looks. I'm not Meryl, I'm still a little bit like her style is interesting, but like but him with Vash, I'm like, oh, I'm really loving this look.
Oh,
those glasses, I want to know what brand those are, because my goodness, he falls all the time and they never break. He had like a face plant, and I'm like, and those glasses are perfectly perfect. So okay, dude. Okay.
Because it's comedy. If the if the glasses broke, it would be a tragedy. Okay. I don't know, man.
Yeah. Anything else on this one? That's
God, if this is the tone that the show is taking, I am terrified to see what Legato is going to be like.
Yeah.
And very interested to see if we get Mid-Valley the Horn Freak at all.
Well, Charles says we're getting Monev the Gale next.
Oh, that'll be fun.
Yeah. So we'll see. We'll see where it goes.
That'll be fun. I'm mostly just looking down the barrel of Legato and going,
mm-hmm.
He was an unholy terror in the OG anime.
Mm-hmm.
This one's not pulling any punches.
Yeah.
Oh, boy. One fear, that guy.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yes. So no, I think that's good. Yeah.
We'll see where we go next episode. 5 out of God knows how many, potentially 12?
Mm-hmm.
Who knows?
I'm excited to see more, like I said.
Yeah.
All right. Now time to other kinds of trauma.
My God.
Hero trauma. Wow, yeah. That one.
I have opinions about this one.
Oh, yes. Do tell.
I love the Todoroki family conversation. I love getting more of the backstory. I love seeing how things went down. I love seeing how things escalated, that it wasn't just, you're an awful human being off the bat. It was, oh, things were bad, and then you didn't deal with them well, and then things got worse, and you continued to deal with them poorly. It's one of those things where it's like, everyone in this family would have benefited not only from therapy, but also from family therapy, and also keeping up with the Todorokis. Yeah, no, this is higher quality. And also, like, would there...
Okay.
Oh, boy, buddy, oh, boy.
For My Hero.
Oh, heck. Alrighty. Let's go.
So, yes, the conversations you liked, and you liked the backstory, and it was a snowball, and taking care of them poorly.
Everyone in this family would have benefited from therapy, individual and family therapy.
Yes.
Really, really needed a professional to take care of this.
Yes.
And also, in a world of support items, and with Endeavor being the number 2 hero, even at the beginning of all of this, like, he's been the number 2 hero since before his marriage. So, decades at this point.
Yeah.
We're rounding, given Dobby's age, at least 2 decades, probably closer to 3. He's been this good for this long because it was him being the number 2 hero that got the arranged marriage, as it were, which is also fucked up. But a dude with that many budgets and connections, you couldn't have figured out a support item for your son to maybe keep his quirk from burning him alive instead of just, you're going to be greater than All Might. Actually, never mind. It's just,
apparently those are only for the students, and his kid didn't
but
go
there
to that
have
school.
to be, because we saw, like, I cannot remember his name, but Naval Laser hit Dobby's 24. So he has been the top hero for probably close to 30 years. Number 2 hero for probably close to 30 years at this point.
Yeah.
So, but we got with, cannot remember his name. Brain is not working. Naval Laser. The whole thing, like, my quirk doesn't fit my body.
Yeah.
I have this, and I've had this for a very long time in order to stop it, in order to prevent it from causing problems. Like, it basically functioned as a medical device. You're telling me you couldn't do that in the land of socialized healthcare? And with your reputation and wealth, you couldn't figure that shit out? So,
again, dealing with things poorly.
Fucking Endeavor, I swear to God. But the one thing where I'm looking at this conversation and going, no, that's wrong. most of this, I'm like, no, I'm on board for this. I get how this escalated. I get how Endeavor being very single-minded in how he wanted to approach this and not being able to get off that track to get an assistive device, to get therapy. And I have heard, citation needed, that there is some stigma against receiving therapy and receiving mental health treatment in Japan. It is entirely possible that I have heard that this is completely incorrect and just hearsay. But if that is the case, if that's a cultural thing, then that would explain, Aoyama, thank you. Then that would explain not wanting to take your kid to therapy or not even being on your radar.
I think for someone as prideful as him, it would also admit like failure and you're not adequate.
Yeah. But the one bit of this that I'm like, no, this is wrong and this is not a moral that this show should be supporting, is the two older kids both saying like, this is everyone's fault. Something? This is like, I should have listened to him and talked him down. And the sister going, oh, I just kept up appearances. I didn't do anything. And it's like, at the time that this was happening, weren't you guys like 8 and 11 years old? It is not. It is never on a child to solve the family's problems. And it is never on a child to keep the family together, especially a family like this where kids know if they're born for a purpose. They're smart enough to figure that out. They know if like, oh, you were born to be the perfect child. Oh, you were born to try to keep the marriage together. Like, they're not dumb. They figure that shit out pretty quickly. So these two kids also both know, like, we're not the perfect child that dad was going for. And older brother's having some trouble. We're going to keep our heads down and we're going to just try to keep the peace. Because when your family dynamic is this fucked, sometimes that's all you can do. So this is something where, yes, it will help for the family to come together and take care of the problem, but it is in no way any of the kids' problems. This is not their fault. This is not something they should have solved when they were children. And honestly, this is not something they're responsible for now. So I very much disagree with the show going, equal blame them. They also think they should have been involved. Like, the show has been so good about, you don't need to forgive your abuser.
Yeah.
Just because they're being a better person and doing the work doesn't mean you have to. Like, they've been so good with this narrative and with handling the Todoroki family that this one particular bit was like, someone involved there, one of the parents needed to be like, no,
I was just going to say, it would have worked if either of the parents or even if Best Jeanist and Hawks heard that moment and be like, yo, it's not your fault.
Yeah. Like, someone needed to acknowledge that that was not the case. Someone needed to just say, no, it was not your responsibility to keep the family together. You were 8 or you were 6 and your brother was on the same rant that he's always on. Like, this is not your fault.
Yeah.
So that's the one bit that I took real issue with, because that's the bit that, because kids are, even though the show is starting to skew a little more mature in the, oh dear God, holy fuck that's happening, it's still aimed at a younger crowd. It's aimed at the 8 to 13 crowd.
Yep.
And that's something that I really don't want kids walking away with. That message that, like, if there's something wrong in the family, it's partially your responsibility to solve it. No, never. It is your parents' responsibility. So, yeah. The kids aren't all right. The show. Toya as a kid was super intense. Well, yeah.
Yes.
And then this is something where
Derek said everyone in the show needs therapy. Every single person, even Dark Shadow.
It is fucking known.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is the sort of thing. I keep losing my train of thought every time we switch gears. One of those days, very big Monday energy.
That I know, I agree. That's a good point, because there are younger people watching the show, and I agree that I hope they don't take away that it's your responsibility to fix stuff. You can have the inclination to want to help, sure, but it's not your responsibility as a child to solve the problems. No.
Yeah, it is your parents' responsibility to take care of that. And it's not an easy responsibility. And I'm not sitting here going, and I expect the parents to do it perfectly. No. Parenting is always a learning curve, and it's always difficult. This is why resources exist. This is why mental health help exists. Therapy good, everyone. Therapy good. But yeah, Toya because he was so intense as a child, like he needed more guidance, and he also needed more training, like doing the whole, well, he can't beat All Might anymore. Like, we need him to not do this. So we're just going to replace him. Like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. I had done so much forgiving of Endeavor, and then they showed us this episode, and I was like, nope, he's still terrible. Oh, he really fucked all of that up. Oh my God.
The kid just wanted to be noticed by his parents. It's like every child wants their parents' approval, like, no matter what. Like, even just somewhere deep down, we all want approval, to be seen. And it's just sad, this poor kid. And his mom even points out, like, he just wants you to notice him, and doesn't get that. And then I agree of like, Endeavor is already like, ugh. And so having the arranged marriage was a little bit like, but then purchasing your bride, and then essentially, no, you are purchasing a breeder. Like, that is your purpose. You are producing offspring for me. And I'm like, I mean, we kind of knew that before, but
like, it's a quirk marriage.
Yes. And I did like that the doctor's like, yo, this is a bit, you should stop doing this. I'm like, oh, at least they kind of go, no,
like, in this day and age, do not have a designer baby. Like, don't do this. You need to stop.
Yeah. So I appreciated that was part of it too.
And I appreciate that Toya is the exact. Go ahead.
So I was going to say the other thing that bothered me, that I'm like, therapy, Toya going, the women in this family are useless and stuff. I'm like, yep. Oh, this child is growing up in such a toxic masculinity household. You're just like,
no respect for his mom. And I wonder if it's the sort of thing where it's like him knowing, I have this very powerful fire quirk that I got from dad, and it's this cold aligned body that I got from mom that's holding me back. Like, seeing his mother as weak. I do appreciate I keep calling him Todoroki, and now it's like, they're all Todorokis. Figure it out. In Shoto recovering and starting to see his mother again and talking to her, and then her starting to recover, I appreciate that she has become more of a character in the story and less of a plot function. Less of a, we needed a woman here to have these kids, and then we also needed a reason for Todoroki to have his burn and his trauma, and it's become less, all right, well, she broke and this happened, and more, okay, we get to see more of her as a person. We get to see them meeting and the talk and the whole, do you like the flowers? Yes, I think they're beautiful. And then her always having those flowers in her room.
Yeah. Like, it might not have been a loveless marriage, but it definitely had a lot of other things that weren't great. But yeah,
I don't think it was complete animosity.
Yeah.
But I do think I am going to have the perfect designer baby that can bypass All Might, and failing to handle what was happening. Like, Endeavor was not pulling his weight in this marriage and in taking care of the kids. Like, it's not like dad wasn't around. It's more like dad had a very specific blinkered viewpoint and was just every setback that went wrong was not handled. So, you sweep it under the rug, and then there's a bump in the rug, and then you sweep more things under the rug, and then you trip over the bump in the rug, and you get mad at it for being there. It's like, it's just,
Charles points out too, this episode further explained why Shoto was isolated from his siblings after Toya tried to attack him.
I don't know if anyone ever explained that to Shoto.
Oh, no. Probably not.
I don't know if anyone ever actually told him, like, he was jealous of you because you were his replacement, and everyone knew it. And think about what that does to a kid. Like, you were the golden child until something that you can't control cropped up. And suddenly you're just yeeted to the wayside. Like, bye, we are deliberately attempting to replace you with a younger sibling who can function, who can function better, who works better. And just, my God, what that does to a kid. That very much, you are no longer wanted. As we saw,
it breaks them quite a bit. Yes.
And even just mom going like, I want you to make friends at school. I want you to have other activities. I want you to look at other aspects of life. There are other
Mhm.
things you can do. And because it
Yeah.
came from her and not from Endeavor, the
Mhm.
complete rejection of that. Because Endeavor's was just quit using your quirk. I don't want you to get burned. Quit using your quirk.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
Toya
just
saying, "I'll make you glad I was born" was heartbreaking. Yeah, that poor just you could feel the pain of this child of
yeah.
like, I just want you to see me. I want you to like me and be impressed. And like his tears becoming flames. I was like, oh
Yeah. It's like, oh, that
yeah.
explains why. Oh, that's so fucked
Yes.
up.
And how blue fire
Oh.
is hotter, burns hotter than
Mhm,
red fire. So I'm just like, oh,
mhm.
and then it shifts and oh, that poor child. But we still
Yep.
don't really know what happened to him after the forest fire. So
I just at this point, it's
yeah.
like, and then All for One came along, and the
Yes.
rest is awful, awful, terrible history.
So speaking of, do we think people heard Endeavor say that because he said it out loud because he heard Deku say it, right? Because Hawks and Best Genius comes over to Endeavor and they're like, yeah, what is one for all? And it's
No,
like,
they were
did they?
asking about All for One. We know that One for All is the big villain behind this.
Yes,
They were
those sound
asking
too
about
similar.
All for
Yes,
One. I
all
know,
for
right? Which half
one.
of the Three Musketeers thing are we working with here?
Anyway, the good one, the good version of it.
One for All.
Because now they both sound wrong. It's that thing. The more you say it, it just sounds wrong.
Yeah, yeah, things stop sounding like
So
words.
is that because he repeated it out loud after Deku said it to him like over the airways? Because I'm like, where did people hear him say this then?
Probably, yeah.
That's my guess. And then my goodness, Hawks it has some typing skills because he's like
Right. Well, I don't know if
funny.
you've ever seen people swipe typing
Yeah,
on
that's
phones,
true.
which is crazy fast. And also,
It's probably a modified speech one anyways. It has better built-in
yeah,
words. So
yeah.
and his
And
wings are starting to
also,
come back, so yay.
well, and also putting characters together instead of spelling things in like
Yes.
Roman,
Yeah.
Roman alphabet, Arabic numerals.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Endeavor said that over the radio, and Burnham repeated it, which is how Deku said it. No, but Deku was telling him. I thought, okay. Either way, it was said not like intentionally. It was not a meant for the public to be known. So then I kind of was wondering. I'm like, okay, so it is like this secret, but what are the consequences if it gets out what it is and what Deku has and how that was passed to him via All Might? Like, at this point,
God.
well, what do you think would be like?
It gets worse. It gets worse. And it paints a target on Deku from people who would otherwise have ignored him.
Okay, then that's fair. That they want to take it. Yeah.
Knowing that that power can be passed from one person to another. Yeah. No. That's there's a reason you keep that shit a secret.
Oh, there we go. So Shigaraki said he was coming for One for All, and then Deku said that Shigaraki is probably after him. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because I was like, where did that come out? But yeah, I'd be curious. I feel Hawks and Best Genius are gonna find out. Oh, I love Best Genius's like metaphors, and everyone's what is he talking about?
What's illegal denim?
What's illegal denim? I've been down some perilous runways.
I love him. I love him so much.
He's in like another mental space that I love it. He's just
I really do
differently than everyone.
I mean, his quirk is in terms of threads, and so you think in terms of threads and fashion and how all that works. And so just like that is where his entire mind is. That's experience set. And you draw your metaphors and your comparisons to life from your experience set.
You tie those together.
I love it. You weave them together.
Weave them together. Oh yeah.
Hey,
sew them.
I
together.
just
stitch them together.
all of the above. All is valid. I love this shit so much.
Yes.
I love when it's a commitment to the bit that's just naturally in the writing for the character. Where it's not like we're going out of our way to make puns. It's just like, no, it's like illegal denim.
Yeah.
He knows what he's talking about. The fact that no one else knows doesn't matter. It makes perfect sense to him, so he's going to share it with the class. I
And
love it.
Detective Hawks, I love him being the like, I'm gonna find
Hawks
things
is
out and we're gonna get everything out. Oh, and him telling Endeavor like, hey, I really idolize you, kid, and then also acknowledging Shoto of like, you're braver than I am because Hawks didn't do anything to his parents. Like he didn't fight back or try to connect with them the same way Shoto is. So it's like, all right.
I would say the situations are different because Shoto,
They're
as much as he was
different.
isolated from his siblings, he still went to
Or-
school.
no,
there was
excuse
still
me.
caretaking.
It's Shoto forgiving his mom too. Because
Yes.
Hawks is like,
Yep, that
"Ugh."
too.
Mhm.
And just the fact that they straight up, so did Endeavor give you that burn? No, it was me. Oh, it's just like, y'all, that's an awkward fucking thing to ask. Are you
Wait,
serious?
so wait, who gave the burn then? Say it again.
The mom did.
Oh, how
Gave
she?
Todoroki the burn.
Yes, the pot.
Sorry, brain. I might have misspoken.
Yes,
it happens.
I was all because we saw. I felt they
Herp
were vague on that. You know, they were like the yeah, like it was just like the boiling water on the ground. So what her?
Oh no, they were very explicit about the fact that she poured that kettle on him because that was when she broke.
Yes,
like she had a breakdown at that point, and that's what that included. And they were again, this was in like season 2. They were very explicit about his Zuko and Shoto. Yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, I felt like it was one of those I remembered that, and then it's just putting the things together. And again, Monday energy on this show.
We're doing our best. We're doing our best.
Yes.
But yeah, no, that was one of those made it very clear in season 2, and that, injuring her child was why she was sent away to recover. Because it's like, no, that's a problem. She's not okay. And she needs to be removed from this situation between getting it from Endeavor and getting it from Dabi.
Mm-hmm.
Seeing that same, like, he didn't, like, Shoto didn't really do anything, but just that same, it became that trigger of focusing on the eyes. And so seeing that same, like, don't look at me with those eyes, because she couldn't do it anymore. Like, nothing good happened here. I'm not going to say that was malicious on her part, because it wasn't.
I think it was a not in her right mind.
No, yeah. She had a mental breakdown. She had a break from reality. Like, bad things happened and she couldn't take it anymore. I'm not going to sit here and be like, she's a terrible mother. Like, no, we saw how things escalated and how little support she was getting from anyone.
Yeah.
Like,
and then Anne feeling like she lost a child, like all of that was like, yeah.
Although finding out about Dabi while in the hospital, like, by the way, your oldest passed away. Your oldest passed away in a tragic accident.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, that the news broke initially of him dying while she was in the hospital. That's what that timeline was. It's like, oh, this is all terrible. Oh dear. So her showing up and being like, you're not the only one who's hurting. You're not even the one who's hurt the worst. I won that terrible prize.
Yeah.
Like, I really like that, though. The acknowledgement of, like, we're all sharing this pain, and also, fuck you, buddy. Just in equal measure. She's so good. I love Mom Todoroki. She's great.
It was also a nice, like, okay, cry it out, and then, like, let's pull together and get our shit together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, yeah, she's like, I'm here. I'm the one captaining this ship now.
Yes.
You can have a little time to just, you can have some time to deal with your emotions. That's valid. Take your time. This is really fucked up for everyone. And then get your shit together, because we got to solve this problem.
Yeah.
It's public now. Everything's public. Everyone knows. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah, Endeavor tried to make an Azula. That's what happened to Shoto.
Yes.
And it just turned out to Shoto be like, actually, no. None of this. I hate it all. We're done.
Yeah, then he needs to be that representative, and there are no leaders for the heroes, so Endeavor has the responsibility, and it's like, you wanted this. He wanted to be number one, so this is part of it too.
He also still needs to
say Dabi is Azula.
Yeah, that's fair. Like, he also still needs to physically recover, because he got impaled a lot. and
Yes.
barely pulled through surgery. My dude is wearing an oxygen mask. Like,
Yeah.
he needs some time to physically heal. We don't know where Recovery Girl is, but I
or
also
there's not enough
appreciate
healers. I'm like, where are they? Yeah,
I also appreciate that we're not leaning on that.
that's true.
It's like we're not leaning on, oh yeah, she can turn back time. We're not leaning on, yeah, Recovery Girl can help with this. Like, Recovery Girl is a school nurse in a school with superpowers, mind you, but also a school nurse. There's got to be a limit to what she can do.
True. This is a typo, but we're going to add the second part. So somehow Deku is Iroh. And then Rab says, Deku got that tea set?
Honestly, I'm going to say that, like, the original wielder is in the Iroh position here.
But then kind of into that, All Might can feel Deku talking to the vestige in the vestige. Yeah, yes, that. Which is what we were suspecting.
I just, at this point, my brain's like, oh yeah, the brain trust.
Like, yeah.
That's so reductive and mean, but that's where it is. It's like, yeah, no, he's having a meeting of the brain trust.
Yeah, but we were kind of suspecting that, like, Deku's, having his meeting with the others, and I like that we have that. And then
in their little organization 13,
yelling at everybody.
It's their little organization 13 pocket of reality with the big chairs. We're just gonna have we're having a meeting of the brain trust. It's gonna be great. We are probably going to sit down and we're going to get some exposition, and we're also probably going to have a reality check.
Yes.
So it'll be interesting. Because the whole, like, hey, he's going to be the new one for all. Or the new all for one, rather. Can you kill him? And I'm betting Deku's answer is going to be like, no, I'm going to save him. Like, that's not the question. It's not the question. Can you remove him from the equation? Because sometimes you gotta remove a man from the equation. He was it's just, oh my God. He was so dangerous to begin with the decay quirk.
Oh my gosh, yes. And then how that's expanded, that I'm like,
yeah,
okay, we need to take care of that shit now.
We are beyond the point where this is an easy takedown, an easy imprisonment, an easy whatever. Like, we are way past that.
Yes.
We are at the point of, can we deal with this? Like, is it possible to save Shigaraki? Can he be saved? Or do we just need to remove him from the equation before he takes the entire continent to the fucking ground?
I'm going to say
do we think he's going to stop with Japan? No, he's not going to stop with Japan. Just,
we'll see where that goes.
Yeah, it's one of those things where it's just too big a threat. Yeah. And I know this is extremely slippery slope logic. I am well aware of that. And I'm well aware that people Gravity send him off the planet. Yep. Bye.
And this is, again, our disclaimer is this is for the world of My Hero Academia. We're not talking about how real people are at all. This is a thing with quirks, which changes the scenario quite significantly. So
yeah, this is, I realize that, like, at what point are they too dangerous and you have to remove them from the equation is, like, extremely slippery slope logic in the real world. And we're not talking about that because people in the real world don't have fucking superpowers. People in the real world can't Thanos snap someone 3 miles away by knocking down a building here. Like, he's got fucking Thanos snap powers at this point. It's messed up. So, again, it just becomes the point of yikes, yikes, yikes. And the fact that All for One now basically has Body 1 and Body 2 going on here. Like, ugh! Someone just take the hand off his face and make him deal.
Yeah.
Again, I wouldn't usually say, oh, I feel for this person, but poor Spinner. He thought he was doing the right thing.
He's like, nope, wrong person. That's not who I meant to bring back. Who are you?
Solid 30 to 60 seconds of just that expression of, I am reevaluating literally all of my life's choices up to this point, trying to figure out where I went wrong because something went extremely wrong here. And this is not where I wanted to be, who I wanted to be with. This is not the person I'm supporting. This is not my beautiful house. This is not my beautiful wife. What is happening? It's was a fun reference to throw in the middle of nowhere.
It worked. I like it.
Flowing underground.
Yes.
Anyway.
All right. I feel that's it for our My Hero coverage for now.
My Hero, also known as just shit's fucked.
Yes.
And also, the kids aren't all right. The kids are not all right. We're working on it, but they're not all right.
Yeah.
We are in the not all right part of the season of the not all right part of the show. Let's go. Still waiting for the villain that escaped and who keeps showing up in the opening to show up.
Yes. Our purple hair lady.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yeah. Spinner's setting the end of the world in motion, right?
Spinner out here like, I have made a mistake.
Oh, well, we also need Aerie. We need Aerie back, too. I need her in the playing field and doing shit.
Yeah. But again, it took her so long to build up the power enough to be able to help Mirio. Like, I don't expect... I expect it to be used on Aizawa next, but I don't expect that to be anytime soon.
True. I think that's good.
Because that's an extremely, that's heckin' OP and requires a lot of control. So I can very much see them going, also, she's like 8. So maybe we can just chill about things, you know, and not expect an 8-year-old to be shouldering this responsibility.
Yeah.
We've talked about how messed up this is. So yeah, it's the kids aren't all right. The show, the series, the sequel.
All right.
Doing our best.
Well, that's
doing our best. We have a meeting of the minds next.
Yes. Yep. I'm excited to see that though. I want to see more from them. Because I feel we're going to see the other ones that like we've seen them in glimpses, but we really haven't had much time. So, yeah.
And then again, we have a wielder who was removed from the records at one point, not in the journals. Sir not appearing in this documentation. So I would love to see if their Sir are appearing, and it might not be a Sir. I don't know. I'm making the Monty Python joke here. Just the whole Sir not appearing in this story is the full-on Monty Python joke. So I would love to see Sir not appearing in this story appear in this story and figure out what the heck is up with them. Give me these answers. Bring them to the Brain Trust. I want to see.
Yes. All right. So other things you should see or read or whatever.
Media you should consume.
Yes, I was like, this is our other segment where we tell you about other stuff we've been watching, reading, games, or whatever that we think you should be checking out. One thing that I just started was I started listening to Stephen King's Pet Sematary on audiobook. It is really good. I saw the movie a long time ago, so I have an idea about everything, but I never read it. And I've had some long drives, and I was like, let me get that. Because American Gods was not available. So I was like, all right, well, then this one showed up on the shelf. So I was like, yes, this. It's read by Michael C. Hall, which he sounds really good for this book. If you're like, who's that? It's the guy who plays Dexter. So then you're like, yes. And I think it's, yes. And it's just cool because some audiobooks can be, I've listened to a lot of them. Some can be like, okay, but like this is, the story itself is really well like told. And the story itself is interesting and just like everything all together that if you want to try out audiobooks and you into some spooky stuff, Stephen King's Pet Sematary so far is really good. I'm about halfway through, so I'll let you know how the rest of it goes. But so far, I was like, wow, this is really nice because driving can get boring. So it's nice when you have something that you're like, oh, what happens next?
I'm going to put a little baby asterisk on that.
Yes.
Just in terms of content. If you are completely unfamiliar with Pet Sematary, for one, be prepared for pet death, because that's a thing. And two, a thing that was in the book that I don't believe was in the movie, and I don't know how much of a spoiler this is for the novel, because the plot beats are very much the same. Let's just go with misuse of Native American culture and call it that.
Yes. Yes. I would say that's the other disclaimer that I feel other people have talked about that. Like, can we stop with the Indian burial ground trope?
It's the Indian burial ground and the use of the Wendigo. Like, don't use the Wendigo. It's not yours. You know?
Yes.
It fulfills a very specific purpose and a very specific history. And fucking white people don't get it right, so stop using it.
Yes.
And I say this as a fucking white people. Just don't. And Pet Sematary was written decades ago.
Yes, this is a much older
Before
book.
people, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's the asterisk there. Like, if that's the sort of thing that's a deal breaker for you, not Pet Cemetery then.
Well, so far in the book, it's that is part of it, and I've just had that section where they reference that entity, but it's not a lot. Like, it's not a major point, but it is how we look at older content through a different lens and modernize. But besides that,
I'm not sitting here saying, oh no, it's terrible because of this. I'm saying, if this is the sort of thing that is a deal breaker for you, then this media may not be for you.
Also,
but also it was written in like the 70s or the 80s or something.
The
not
other
an excuse, but an explanation.
Another thing I'd recommend with the audiobook is they have the like a blurb of how Stephen King was inspired to write it and his thoughts on it, which I really appreciated, because that's really cool as you go into the book, that there's a lot of things in the book that are really happened in Stephen King's life. So I was like, oh, cool. So that was the thing.
This was also one where he wrote it and he found it to be like so dark and so disturbing that he wrote it and he kept it in a drawer for like a decade. And then his wife went, just pull it out and publish it. Come on, dude.
It was, when was the book? I'm looking that up. When was the book?
Yeah. So it's definitely been around for a while. It's certainly a dark one. So if you're not okay with animal death, this is not the book for you. But it is
originally published in 1983, so written in the early 80s. Yeah.
Now, is it written before that?
Yeah.
Because again, like, he wrote it and then he shoved it in a drawer for a while. So it's that's the lore behind that one, at least.
Yes.
So yeah.
What about you? Books, shows, movies, things.
Nothing new. Still watching Cooking in Another World with Campfire Cooking in Another World with my whatever skill. I'm always going to forget at least one word from a light novel title. Let's be real.
Yeah.
But it's the one where the guy gets isekai'd and his skill is online grocery. And just this show just keeps getting better and better. Like, it's Miyazaki levels of food porn, but also
don't watch Hungry then.
But it's not like Food Wars, food porn, you know?
Different kind.
Not that kind, like Miyazaki food porn where you look at it and you're like, why don't I have that in my hands right now?
Yeah.
But the difference between that is, like, Miyazaki food porn just occurs and it's beautiful. And food porn in this show is you see him making it and you get the inner monologue as he walks through the steps. So it's not a like cooking tutorial, but it's definitely I could get chicken cutlets and pound them out and then do a mixture of flour and egg and bread them and then fry them. I could do that. That's, so it's like, oh, this is how the food porn happens. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's fun on that end. The characters are amazing. I love Fenrir. I love this giant, ridiculous, overpowered wolf who this is what I've been wanting. This is hitting all it's hitting all my standards. It's meeting all my standards. It is fulfilling that pastoral fantasy requirement, and how. And it's just so much fun. It's so charming. It's so good. I love this show. 3 episodes so far. I'm very much doing the why am I only getting 1 episode a week? Give me all of it now. But it's really good and I highly recommend it on Crunchyroll. Nice. We've also made our way mostly through Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. We've watched both seasons. All we have left is the movie. And we're putting a pin in that because this show has definitely made it clear that, like, they know what goes into a good villain. They understand the mix of comedy and threat. And the one villain that the show has not given us by the end of its run is the Krang. And you take the Krang seriously, and there's a lot to work with there. So I have a handful of spoilers for the movie, but one of the things I've seen is the design of the Krang. So it's one of those, like, all right, I'm going to go into this prepared. We watched the season finale. It was amazing. It was unbelievably good. This show plays Shredder close to the vest for a very, very long time, and the payoff is warranted and amazing.
Yeah.
So, like, if you know Turtles lore, if you've been into the other shows, like Rise is extremely good and plays it works really well with what it has and the existing Turtles lore, and it also folds in new villains, new lore, new fun stuff. Like the approach is very fresh, very good. It's a fantastic take on all of this. And I, having just seen the design of the Krang, after how they handled Shredder and what they did with the various ways they worked with Shredder, I am both excited and terrified to see the Krang in action. Krang shall be made known when Krang is ready. Yes, exactly. So, yeah, watch Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Season 1 and the movie are on Netflix. Seasons 1 and 2, but not the movie, are on Paramount Plus. It's a weird rights ownership thing, but watch it because it's amazing. It's so good. A lot of fun. Amazing voice acting. And again, better Sakuga than I've seen in a lot of anime. This is a show that knows when to turn up the budget for the fight scenes. And oh my God, do they ever. They're beautiful.
Nice. Yes. All right. Which takes us to the end. So there we go. Thank you, everybody, for joining us on this edition of Nighttime at the Nerd Bar. Thank you for being here. If you watched it live, thanks for joining the live chat. And if you watched it later, comments down below. Let us know your thoughts on what we talked about. Don't forget to give the video a thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. And speak of subscribing and following people, Katie, where can people follow you online?
You can follow me all over the social medias as well as on YouTube and Twitch at Kiaxet. That is Kiaxet. We've been doing more casual streams on the Twitch. I just restarted Hades again because I have a problem. It's very fun. As for the YouTube channel, for the Rooster Teeth people out there, this next season of RWBY drops on February 18th. I'm going to be out of town for a convention. Don't you dare spoil me. But what I'm doing with my channel for that, I recently did a channel update that I put up a few days ago. So if you're wondering, like, well, what's the state of the channel? What are we doing? What are we looking at? It's all in that little channel update. So follow those. Super fun.
Yay. And y'all can find me online, Carrie D Lane. That's K-A-R. Man, this Monday. This is a Monday.
Bring it home.
K-A-R-I-D-L-A-N-E. In case y'all are just listening or something like that. Just that's where everything is on across all the social media platforms. And of course, here on the Fanversation YouTube page. And then you can follow us at the NTATN. Just look up Nighttime at the Nerd Bar on Twitter. You'll find us.
NTATNB. Yes.
There we go. Yes. Thank you. But yeah, again, happy to have you here. And we'll be seeing next week. There's our little heart thing. Yep. Yay.
Little heart.
All right. Well, take care and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.